What's up guys, Handish here, and today I wanted to talk about some power level stuff. I'm going to talk about kind of the different caps that you'll hit as you power level in Destiny 2, and a few tricks that'll help you get to, you know, those much higher power levels, 295 up to 300 and then 305. But I actually have a pretty huge tip right here for anyone who has maxed out characters right now. So if you have a level 300 character, which is 305 with legendary mods on every piece of gear, there's actually something pretty interesting that you can do with NPC engrams. I have to give a shout out to Leaf Blitz on Reddit, who actually posted a Reddit thread about this. They kind of discovered some of the information to do with the NPC engrams, so we'll leave the Reddit thread in the description below. So I am a max level character right now on my Titan. Again, that's 300 power, which is 305 with mods on every single piece of gear. Now for any of the vendors in the game, particularly the planetary NPCs, there's actually something you can do here to basically guarantee yourself 300 drops. So I go to Devrim K in the European Dead Zone, turn in a bunch of reputation, and you'll see that there's an engram right here as a reward at level 296. He also has the Mida mini tool at 297 right here, but when you are max level, you can drop engrams anywhere between 295 and 300 like I said. Now these vendors actually have a power level reset timer. So every 30 minutes, essentially half past the hour and on the hour, the potential power level for an engram from any of these NPCs will change. And this also includes their kind of specific loot, so the Mida mini tool at Devrim K, the Sturm at Tyra Khan, and the Man of War fusion rifle, which is on Io. And this means that any of these can become 300 upon the reset. So it goes past the hour and I go back to Devrim K, and you'll notice that the Mida mini tool is now 300. This means I can pick this thing up as many times as I can afford, and it will be 300 every time. So if you've got a bunch of SMGs, you can bring them all up to 300, obviously then put mods on them and they'll be 305. The engram that he has right here is actually 298, but when I go back after another 30 minutes, the engram is now 300. So I can now pick that engram up, it's guaranteed to be level 300 gear. Now the engram and the weapon that the NPC has will always be different, so one might be 298 and the other be 300, but when the engram is 300 at the NPC, that means inside of the 30-minute window, any engrams from that NPC will also be the same level. So essentially, once you see a 300 engram, if you turned in a bunch more stuff and leveled up again, you would see another 300 engram. So obviously this is pretty huge because you can kind of stack up a bunch of reputation for a location, level up once, leave the engram there, and then obviously keep leveling up inside of the window where it's at that maximum level. Also, as you move between the vendors, like I said before, check out the Man of War, the Drang, and the Mini Tool because their levels will be changing. So if you're looking for infusion fuel, you'll be able to pick up a bunch of these. Essentially, if you want to pick up as much gear at that max level as possible, you can kind of repeat this process, keep picking up engrams, farm for a specific location, and just ensure that anytime you pick up engrams, you know, you leave them, and every 30 minutes they're going to change. This will work for Devrim K, Asher on Io, Sloan on Titan, and then Failsafe on Nessus. Inside of the tower, this will also work for Ikora Rey, Commander Zavala, and Lord Shaxx, but the window seems to be a much longer period of time, 4 or more hours, so it isn't necessarily going to be as beneficial with those vendors. Of course, if you're not desperate to pick up the engram, you can always leave it and check back, you know, a few hours later, but for any of the planets, it is 30 minutes. And so if you're leveling up and you're under 300, this means that every time it refreshes, it's taking account of your light level progress, and the refresh basically enables that vendor to drop you higher level stuff. However, if you are below level 300, then there is a bit of a trick you can use for powerful engrams, which are any of the engram rewards that you get from milestones, so your luminous engrams for example. These can actually be left at the vendor and they will kind of scale to your current level. So that means if you turn one of these in, you look and it has a particular light level. I'm using an example here from when I was a bit of a lower level. You can leave it there, carry on doing whatever you're doing, and if you level up a bit in between, you can actually go back and you will get a higher level drop. So that's something to bear in mind if you are still progressing up towards 300. If you're wondering about how the kind of soft caps for light levels work, basically what will happen is at 265 you'll find that stuff starts dropping lower than your level. What it's actually doing is dropping at 5 points lower than your base level, the level that you have on that piece of gear without mods. So if your level is 280 280, for example, without mods, what will happen is you'll see drops at 275. Of course, you could have mods on some of your pieces of gear that mean your character level is actually 283, for example, but that is not taken into account when you actually get things dropped. It will always be on the base level of your character without mods. So after you hit 265, you're going to rely on weapon quests, such as the kind of Mitre Multitool quest, any of the exotic quests. They will drop stuff at much higher levels. Exotic engrams will also be able to drop stuff at much higher levels, and then your powerful and luminous engrams will also drop gear, that's considerably higher than your current level. So really there are a few specific sources that will dramatically kind of have an impact on your level. When I say dramatic, a couple of levels at a time potentially, and it is a slow grind towards 300. Once you have a base level of 300, so essentially once your max level, that'll be 305 with mods included, your engrams can drop anything between 295 and 300. So back to the example at the start of the video, that's why I'm seeing gear anywhere between that range, because I'm currently in the max level, and using that specific method will allow you to kind of go back and wait for the gear to show up at the max level. So there we go, guys, just a quick breakdown of a few kind of tricks that you can do with engrams. Specifically at max level, you'll be able to use that kind of first thing I showed you with the NPCs to level up more of your gear, so you've got more variety and you can still be max level using different setups. It's also something to bear in mind for when you get to those levels, and hopefully if you are below 300 right now, the things I've mentioned in this video will help you out a little bit. But if you have enjoyed the video, guys, a like is very much appreciated below. Let us know any tips that you have for other players leveling up. If you're new around here, be sure to hit subscribe to see a lot more Destiny 2 content on the channel. For now though, I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you very soon.